A
Damn,
trailblazer, you think?
that's a gut punch. It really is. And that video really captures the essence of that song.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I got all teary.
I mean, you could put it out today. My God, Preston. And there he is, the top of his career, and he's fighting, like Ray Charles fought the record companies to do what he believed in. I mean, Marvin is a hero, total hero. Uh, this is 1970, 1971. It's like, and it was a monster hit. Still is. It's played all the time.
It gets used a lot in film and TV as well.
Sure.
That and something happening here. What it ain't exactly clear. Yeah, you've got that one too, because they really reach into the whole psyche of the listener. Because despite all of the garbage that goes on in the world and such, um, I guess I have a little bit of the Anne Frank philosophy that underneath it that most people really are good and they don't want to see the trials and tribulations and strife and what other people have to go through and what we have to go through. And I think the more that we have songs like this, the more they touch the goodness in other people and get them to let that surface and act and not just be a bystander. And I think we're starting to see a lot more of that again today, the way that we did in the during the Vietnam War. We're
Yeah.
seeing more of that happening. All of this garbage that has been, you know, pretty much self-inflicted wounds. We're looking at it and going, "Hey, wait a minute! There's more of us good guys than there are the bad guys, and we have to do what Plato said, and that is not be silent." And I think that this kind of song really reaches so deeply into like a soul recognition that you can't not hear the message.
And to be able to do that, you need someone who has a certain amount of success and power to be able to get through some of that. There were excellent other songs during that period, but they were people that didn't have the connections, didn't have the access, and uh, but here's someone who was at the top of his game and made the decision to risk it all for something he believed in. And we're making the transition, of course. We're going to soon be going from soul into our protest songs, into our folk protests. So here's somebody who sort of rode that wave. It's where society was, so he was able to get away with it. He also was a product of the society that inspired him to do it because you had all that stuff about Flint, Michigan. It had to be on the news. Some journalists had to uncover it. It had to be on people's visions and people's awareness in order for it to have a point when he put it out there. So it was both a reflection of the times and it helped to move the times ahead. That's one thing why I'm drawn to the 60s, because it just wasn't just like the 50s. There was very little of that. We were just, it was a different society. We were having good times. Our problems were small. I mean, the worst kind of crime in schools was smoking in the bathroom. It wasn't.
Smoking in the boys' room.
Yeah, right, right. Whereas here, we're so someone took a stand. And any other comments about now? Then I think we'll have time. I'm going to do that song I was talking about. But any further comments about Marvin and what he did with his career or this particular cut.
I just think when you mentioned about social commentary about that the song is relevant to so much of what's going on today. I think you said something about that, and it's true. It's so true, and he has such an empathy or something in his voice, in his it
Mhm.
comes out in his heart. It just comes right out. It's yeah. I think once again a vocalist paired with a song that for his interpretation of it, no better could be done, but besides him, and too bad so sad that he died young because I mean, good Lord, what else could he have
Sure.
brought to the table? Incredible.
Yeah, because he had a song in the he had "Let's Get It On," which was a very sexual,
Mm-hmm.
very seductive song, and then in the '80s he had a song about sexual healing, a deeper version of "Let's Get It On,"
Mm-hmm.
therapy.
I think too what we're seeing now in some of the music um, of the protest music and such. I think that um, with the attempt to do retroactive changing of our history to try to sanitize it,
Yeah,
I think what we are seeing is that what many of us who of pale Euro stock were not um, confronted with in our youth is that the disparity has always been there. And what we are seeing now is what he was talking about then. And it has not changed considerably. And we are being forced to look at the reality that we were shielded from for so long unless we were part of the people who were being oppressed and targeted. And now we're seeing with what's happening in the world is that if you don't fit this rigid little space, you're an other. And God knows we can't have the others. And this is something that we didn't live with all our lives, but we are being confronted with it now.
well, my image that I brought up and I still use is which side of the picket fence? Well, this is
Exactly.
the outside of the picket fence.
Yeah. And I grew up inside the picket fence.
Yeah,
And
I grew up on the fence, but that's a different
oh
story.
yeah, kind of that because my mother was very politically active, and so I saw and was exposed to a lot of stuff that my peers were not. So I
Yeah,
had a better inkling of what was going on, but I
sure.
didn't live it, so
Yeah,
it didn't have the same reality. You know, um, now that I have a lot of friends who did live it
yeah.
and who have basically been very generous in sharing their experiences, it's like damn, how could people act like that?
Well, people have back to Cain and Abel, As long as there's been human activity, there are people that act well and people that don't.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it's
yeah, it's true.
part of life.
The duality of being on this planet.
Yeah. But I think as a 60s music discussion group, this is an important part of some of our best music and our most significant music. And that's why I'm featuring it. Um, any other thing about Marvin himself? Because I'm going to bring up the song, see if you can guess it. If not, I'm going to play half of two different recordings of Gladys and Marvin doing it. And of course, uh, both Nancy, you, and Gail and I have performed that song hundreds of times. It's one of the all-time pop classics. Um,
Okay,
Glad,
let's get into that. I want to hear this one.
okay, all right. Smokey did it first, and I could play the Smokey version, but they didn't release it. It never became a hit. Marvin Gaye did a very tried and true version of the Smoky. That's the one I do when I perform because that has a melody. Gladys Knight took it to a whole different place and made it her own. And actually, her song was an even bigger hit. But I'm going to play Marvin's first because that's the song as most of us know. And the California Raisins did it too. Now you know who I'm talking, what I'm talking.
Oh my God. Okay. I got it. I got it.